What's up, everybody? It is the Best Buy Kids Movement. I'm back with another quick video. So, some news broke while I was at work, as always, because I work normal hours. So, uh, now that this Xbox, Microsoft versus FTC, Activision Blizzard case is coming, emails are going public because some of these things they're going to be using as like evidence or case points to point to, and some of the information comes public, and some of that information also comes redacted. But in this case, we got an interview, not an interview, an email that went out for Phil Spencer, who reached out to Satya and I think somebody else from Microsoft about acquiring um, Bungie and Sega. And now, if you guys, obviously, if you subscribe to the channel, subscribe to Weapon Will Podcast, on the Playing Xbox podcast, we talked about, what's Xbox's next move, and we probably got a little bit of a hint of it today. And not actually that, their entire list of targets actually was leaked as well. Now, the list is pretty much just business companies of interest. These weren't people that they've actually reached out to or came to any agreement. These were lists that they were reviewing, and then they got another step where they would go and request for get permission to talk about the acquisition, and then after they get tossed the acquisition, they come to an agreement, and they get the approval. So let's talk about it. So this one, I think Tom Warren broke this. This is the first link. This first I found out to it was through Tom Warren, but the email is here. I just want to read this email. It says, I'm writing to request strategy approval to approach Sega Sammy regarding a potential acquisition of their Sega gaming studios. For context, Bill and I have reviewed the business case for acquiring Sega and are both supportive. We believe that Sega has built a well-balanced portfolio of games across segments with global geographic appeal and will help us accelerate Xbox Game Pass both on and off console. Please find the attached memo with and bullets below for additional details on our strategy to prioritize our next acquisition target, a brief overview of Sega's gaming portfolio, and the value drivers for the potential acquisition. As the Sega Gaming Studios are owned by Sega Sammy, publicly traded Japanese company, we have called out a few deal complexities in the memo. Sega's gaming has represented roughly half of Sega Sammy's revenue and operating income, or 900 million of revenue and 60 to 90 million of operating income. In each of Sega Sammy's last 3 fiscal years, the team is coordinated closely with the CELA on the next steps. If we were to receive SA, which I think it's strategic approval or something like that, please let us know if you have any questions or concerns or would like us to schedule a time to discuss live. Thanks, Phil. And the bullet points: prioritizing acquisition targets to help inform our next strategic um, acquisition target. We have identified top priority segments and geographic combinations for Xbox in order: PC in North America and Europe, mobile in North America and Europe, console and PC in, I think that's Asia Pacific something. Keeping in mind these leading priorities, we evaluated a set of targets both individually and combination of our own studios to determine the best strategic fit. Sega is the most attractive next acquisition target due to its global PC catalog, presence on mobile in Asia, and global brand affinity on console through its classic IP. So, okay. Honestly, I'm gonna tell you guys this. It's much. I think obviously we want the Activision deal to go through because it's Activision, but they're huge. Call of Duty, obviously, Diablo, Overwatch, stuff like that. It's popular. They gain a lot. They gain a lot of obviously studios and IP from it. But me personally, I like the selfish acquisitions they can make and make games really exclusives, and it's not really a bother to anyone, right? The problem with like a an Activision or an EA or Take Two is that they got these major IPs. You're forced to share them. You go to these regulatory problems, right? Whereas Sega would be like another ZeniMax acquisition. And this is now, that's a deal that actually truly hurts PlayStation in terms of content. Won't put PlayStation out of business or anything like that, or but it hurts them from a content standpoint because PlayStation usually targets Sega and and Square Enix to keep for games that they can withhold from Xbox. Xbox has been fighting back with Sega and doing these deals, and and obviously the talk of acquisition happened. Now this email was from November of 2020, so this all took place right around the time this was November 2020. They announced, when did they announce when did they announce ZeniMax happened in September of 2020 and it closed in March of 2021. So this could have been literally the next, had they things. I don't know what happened because they said there was another email where this actually, Sega is still on the list. But this was at this point now we're looking at almost 3 years. This is 3 years ago, and we know Xbox and Sega got really close. This would have been, to me, from a gamer's perspective, more exciting. Like personally, I would enjoy if Xbox acquired a Sega or Ubisoft because I feel like I get more out of those acquisitions, and I honestly hope this still goes down. It's cool to see this information comes out, and we know the long list of IPs. You got the Atlas, you got Sonic Team, you got the Yakuza series, all the Like a Dragon stuff. Sega's honestly been in a position where they've been releasing like a couple games every year, and this would definitely, and lighter games now are launching into Game Pass, but this would have helped Xbox tremendously on both the Japanese market and obviously on PC, and of course kind of that core gameplay. I think ZeniMax also solved like a core game fan base with the acquisition. I think Sega would do the same thing. And then Activision, obviously, the cost and the global appeal. I think Sega should still be a relevant target for them. And if this ABK deal was to fall through, I think you pick back up with Sega. But just to read some of the stuff The Verge got over here, it says Microsoft believed a Sega acquisition would drive Xbox Game Pass subscriptions across PC, console, and cloud. The global appeal of Sega's beloved IP will help expand Xbox Game Pass reach to new audiences around the world, most notably in Asia, where localized content is critical to success, says Spencer in his pitch to Nadella and Hood, which he said that in an email. In this in the image below is their mergers and acquisitions watch list. Now, this is the final watch list. They had a target list which included a ton of people. They had From Software, had Bungie, it had Certain Affinity, it had actually a couple people, Thunderful. It had a couple studios on there that I was actually interested in. So on their final watch list, it included Thunderful, Super Giant Games. They made Hades. And this is a smaller acquisition that they can make honestly anytime. Super Giant Games, they literally can do this at any time. This shit like might go under. I know it's Niantic. They do like mobile games. Playtrix. Um, they specialize strong franchises and content breadth, world class in designing, making, and running successful games. Zynga, obviously, we know they lost that to Take Two. Uh, Below is they have Bungie. We know PlayStation end up scooping them up. What they said was for Bungie, owner of AAA franchises with an established ability to ship and scale games. IO Interactive, owner of a AAA franchises with specialized expertise in regional IP game launches. I still think they should make that move too. Scopely, very strong tech infrastructure to support non-owned IP opportunity to complement Xbox Game Studios IP. So yeah, this was what they've had for they were had a potential opportunity. They obviously talked about Sega. Sega is still there. I think I've read some other things about this acquisition. I'm trying to see. I know there's a lot of replies, but I think Ah, man, I can't. Maybe if I circle, if I Google, not Google, if I search Sega in the Twitter search, there's obviously some other emails going out. Um, if Microsoft were to buy Sega, they would operate them as a multi-platform publisher. You can stop panicking now. Okay, okay. I guess there's some more details. Subject to diligence and discussions with Sega leadership team, we expect Sega to report to Matt Booty with the following operating principles: will continue to develop and sell all acquired games and franchises on all relevant platforms. Da, da, da. We will bring previously exclusive to PlayStation and Nintendo titles to Xbox and launch future titles on Xbox in addition to other relevant platforms as rights permit. We will launch all acquired games and franchises with subscription exclusivity into Xbox Game Pass on console, PC, and cloud. Future releases will ship into Xbox Game Pass day and date basis. Yeah, yeah. So they would have they would have yeah, they would have made a, I guess, a move. So yeah, so if they're gonna be looking at publishers, and there's 505 games was an option, Paradox Interactive, and Focus Home, it was on their list. So which in that case, if Xbox buys another publisher, they're gonna be doing multi-plat releases. Just a matter of fact, just to get their stuff into Game Pass and on the cloud. Uh, but yeah, this is some good stuff. And Sega would have been, oh wow, you Google it and it's not Google, Twitter, 2 billion. Yeah, that would have been something that would have closed in less than 6 months. 2 billion. That's less than Bungie. PlayStation could have did that. Yeah. So Sega was next in line right after Bethesda. They should have done that. I still think I would have done Sega over Activision, bro. But man, it's a lot of stuff coming out. You got other people, really dogging also Xbox. Like for some reason, I don't know what it is between like Nick and the Red Dragon, dude. Like they're like going like ham on Xbox with everything. Like the Pete Hines email came out where he criticized he actually didn't even criticize um he didn't even criticize Microsoft. I'm gonna try to go. Let me go to the tweet. I'm gonna go and then I'm now in the video because right now I'm getting into like live streaming territory with this video. Uh, so you got people like Red Dragon that like write these narratives about like how bad Xbox is. Um, and he says Pete Hines' email reveals he was upset that Bethesda was told to take away opportunities for Sony PlayStation users, but Activision was told they could support those games. Ooh, bombshell after bombshell. Microsoft Xbox management is a mess. It's like I don't know. I like these guys are getting so upset in a way that their commentary about Xbox is like every day. This dude now Red Dragon. I used to be a big fan of Red Dragon. Hit daily, 7 days a week, every hour in a day, holiday, weekend, whatever. Yeah, clock around the clock. He only posts bad news about Xbox, and if there's no bad news about Xbox, he does commentary about like Xbox. But it has to be negative. I've never seen anything like it. So when you read the email, right? I read the email and I didn't see anything really an issue with it. But because you gotta think about it, Xbox just closed ZeniMax, their games exclusive to Xbox. They're about to they just announced that they're acquiring ABK, and the first thing they say is we're gonna make the games multi-platform because that's when you consider things like if Xbox was to buy an EA or a 2K or something like that, one got to assume because of the massive player base and the annual revenue they generate, you got to assume that these are going to be multi-platform release. Sure, you're going to have select games that's going to be exclusive and whatnot. My phone's ringing. I get people act like I don't have a life outside of work, but um, one can assume that the like they're gonna make some games exclusive, but like, come on, these annual releases. So I'm gonna read Pete Hines' email, because Pete Hines has been like this, the apologetic one every time with these acquisition and the exclusive and stuff like that. But he says, I'm confused. Is the B-low not the opposite of what we were just told to do with our own titles? What's the difference? Emphasis in bold is mine. From the blog post yesterday. And when they announced this, they said, first, some commentators have asked whether we will continue to make popular content like Activision's Call of Duty available on competing platforms like Sony's PlayStation. The obvious concern is that Microsoft would make this title available exclusively on Xbox console, undermining opportunities for Sony PlayStation users. To be clear, Microsoft will continue to make Call of Duty and other popular Activision Blizzard titles available on PlayStation through the term of any existing agreement with Activision. And we have committed to Sony that we will also make them available on PlayStation beyond existing agreements and into future, so that Sony fans can continue to enjoy the games they love. We are also interested in taking similar steps to support Nintendo's successful platform. We believe this is the right thing for the industry, for gamers, and our business. Did anyone, and this is Pete again, did anyone at Xbox think about giving us a heads up on this? Todd's going to DICE in a couple of weeks. You don't think a journalist, might find him and press him on why the below is okay for COD or any Activision Blizzard games, but not the Elder Scrolls 6 or Starfield, or at every future interview he does? So my thing is, when I read that email, I didn't see anger. I didn't see that Pete Hines was mad that Bethesda games are exclusive to Xbox. He's like, okay, you bought us, all right, our games are exclusive. You bought Activision, but you're making it public, boom, that their games are going to be multi-platform. That's going to put us in a bad position, because obviously ZeniMax has a huge fan base, and it makes sense. Some idiots always ask, these gamers and dorks and nerds and fanboys always ask, well, why is this? Why is that? They ask on Twitter. They ask on, and this was right around the time, people forget, this was still during that time, this was still fresh. People, they were getting pressed on, like, is Elder Scrolls exclusive? Hey, like Starfield coming exclusive, all this other stuff. And they were still getting pressed about this stuff. So it actually makes sense. So nothing in this email says, why can our games be this, or I'm mad at this, I'm very disappointed at this. He's literally asking, well, they asked us to do the opposite of this, and now it puts us in a position to get pressed by like journalists and fanboys and stuff. So it's just the type of like spinning, word twisting these guys do in an effort to make Xbox look bad. And like, so all these reports are coming out now. You're going to see a bunch of lists online about all these studios that Xbox are looking at now. Mind you, not even like none of these literally made it to the stage where, hey, let's talk about acquisition. These are just, it's like the same list we make when we're like, oh, these are the studios I hope Xbox buy. These are the studios I hope Sony. They literally, Microsoft and Sony are doing the same thing, but they're doing it obviously at a much higher level, and it's more realistic options for them. But we get criticized for making our wish list, and people right here on the internet are mad that Xbox are making buying lists because they're not building studios from the ground up that takes 10 years to do and releasing games. So I don't know. I mean, hating Xbox is just something to do, but I'm glad this information comes out. I hope Sega is still in play, and I hope some of these other options that's on this list is still in play, and hope we have opportunity to see this through. But that's my video for you guys today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys on the next video. As always, Xbox is the best box. I am the best spot. Good night or good morning if you're on the other side of the globe. God bless, guys. Peace. And I got a headache.